Hi, welcome to Double J's List. I'm going to be talking about purchasing a post-Dieselgate Volkswagen TDI. What I mean by that is, in case you aren't aware, I'll cover it really quickly. There was a scandal back in 2015 where Volkswagen was cheating on their emissions tests for the EPA. And I won't go into how they were cheating and what all of that was, because it's covered everywhere. There's actually a pretty good video on Netflix. If you're interested, just type in Volkswagen TDI in the search, and you'll probably be able to find it. It's a little dramatic, but it does cover everything that pretty much went down. But what happened essentially was they cheated on the emissions, and Volkswagen had to fix the cars that were out there or buy them back and then fix them if they wanted to sell them again. The end result were hundreds of thousands of these cars that violated the emissions. They were all 2-liter diesel engines, were purchased back. And they basically sat on lots all over the United States until they came up with a solution for the problem. The solution wound up being some things added to the catalyst in the exhaust system and reprogramming of the computers, because basically what they were doing was the computers could see that they were going through a sequence that the EPA typically would do to test emissions, and then it would change the programming of the computer to run more efficient, or it's actually less fuel efficiently, but better for emissions, and it made less power in that mode, because they couldn't actually achieve the power and fuel economy numbers and make the emissions at the same time. And it was a huge scandal. There's executives in jail right now in Germany over all of this. So the good news is, for us as consumers, means that we can go out and purchase a car that Volkswagen had to buy back for a discounted price. And what the highlight of it all is that the EPA basically forced them, after they fixed the vehicles, to warranty the cars for a very long time. But I'm going to get into that right now. The cars that were affected by this basically started in 2009 and went all the way to 2015 when the scandal was found out. The first ones, there's 3 different generations of this 2-liter TDI engine. The first one is known as Gen 1, that covers 2009 to 2014 Volkswagen Jettas. And then it also covers 2009 to 2014 Jetta wagons, 2010 to 2014 Golfs, 2013 and 2014 Beetles, along with the Beetle convertible, obviously. First of all, it's kind of neat that I don't think anyone's ever really offered a diesel convertible here in the United States, but Volkswagen did, and unfortunately these cars were then affected by the scandal. So anyway, the Gen 1 cars that I just listed, they have a warranty that covers them for 10 years or 120,000 miles from its original in-service date, so that's when it was new. When the first person purchased it and left the lot, that starts the clock on that. Or 4 years, 48,000 miles from after the EPA fix that was mandated was done, whichever one is longer. So if you buy a car that already has 100,000 miles on it, and it's only got 2 years left of the in-service, this covers you for 4 years, 48,000 miles from that point. If you find a car that's newer, then you can take advantage of the in-service date. Again, whichever one is longer and works for you, that's the way the EPA required them to cover this. What does it cover? It covers the entire exhaust gas treatment. Let's have to say this. Pretty much all the stuff that's in the exhaust that covers emissions. All right, so there's a lot of different things. There's a Diesel Particulate Filter. Those are known to fail. Those are usually over $1,000 to fix. They have to do that. And then they're going to cover the entire fuel system. There are fuel pump failures that are pretty common in these cars, so that's a really expensive fix. That's really nice. Anything to do with the EGR system, and the turbocharger, anything to do with the glow plugs, and anything that has anything to do with the onboard diagnostic system, because that's the check engine light, as we all know. So anything they can throw a check engine light, essentially Volkswagen has to fix. Additionally, also the long block of the engine, so that means the block and the head and all the items that are contained in it. So if you somehow snap a crankshaft or bend a valve or something like that, that gets covered by this warranty also. It's pretty good. I also want to add on the Gen 1s, I forgot to mention this, for some reason, you get an extra 6,000 miles or 6 months if it's a manual transmission. So that's all covered. Pretty much all the same things are covered for the Gen 2 and 3. I'll get into that next. The Gen 2s and Gen 3s were different from the Gen 1s as they had a diesel exhaust fluid system. So to help with emissions and get rid of particulates, it uses this system to inject it into the diesel exhaust particulate filter. Whereas the early generation ones, it would just burn more diesel fuel. So the end result are Gen 2s and Gen 3s are a bit more efficient. So you get a little bit better gas mileage, and even after the fix that takes away some of the fuel economy. So unfortunately, this fix on all three of these generations takes away fuel economy, because one of the things that they were cheating on was getting better fuel economy by basically polluting more. So the Gen 2 Volkswagens are the 2012 to 2014 Passats. So very nice car. It's a nice size, big car with a huge back seat. Really good if you have car seats or anything like that. I also think it would be a great car for Uber, because it's such a big, comfortable back seat in the car. But a lot of the big trunk, you can put a lot of stuff in it. That also does, the Gen 2 also does 10 years, 120,000 miles from the vehicle's in service date, or 4 years, 48,000 miles, whichever comes first. Now where it gets really interesting are the Gen 3s. These are 2015 model year only. This covers the Beetle, the Golf, the Jetta, the Golf Sport Wagon. Notice that these are all, most of these, the Golf and the Sport Wagon, those are a generation change for the Volkswagen. That's where they became the Mark 7 platform. The Jetta, the regular Jetta, just stayed at the Mark 6 platform, but got this newer engine that also got the diesel exhaust fluid. And the Passat falls under this one for 2015. This one actually gets the greater of either 11 years or 162,000 miles from its in-service date, and then 5 years, 60,000 miles from the date that the fix happened, whichever one of those works out better. So, another thing to consider with these cars. So, these cars were bought back by Volkswagen, and they gave the owners, part of the agreement, they gave the owners of the cars a lot more than they actually were worth. And now they're trying to sell them off to get some of that money back. But the market has been hurt by them because of the bad press. There's even one story I saw, I think it was on one of the TDI groups on Facebook. One owner sold his car back, and then like 2 years later bought his same car back, and in the end he wound up selling it for thousands more than he bought it back for, and it's actually got more warranty now than when he had bought it new, essentially. So that worked out really well for that gentleman. Other people traded in cars with a lot of miles on them and got a crazy amount of money, and then spent less money to get a lower mile, nicer car. So there's a lot of neat stories out there regarding this warranty. The vehicle that I purchased is a 2014 Jetta Sport Wagon. It was the last year of the Mark 6, so it's the last year of the Gen 1 with the reduced warranty. However, it only had 23,000 miles on it, and its in-service date was actually kind of late into 2014. So the way it works out, for the entire 5 years that I'm paying for on loan, and I'm paying a very small amount of money because it was such an inexpensive car. It winds up being cheaper than like an inexpensive lease. I've got warranty the entire 5 years that I have it, as long as I don't drive it like 25,000 miles a year. That's I don't think I'm going to be able to do that, especially now that I've got the LX that I've had other videos on. So, one thing to consider is I also bought mine certified pre-owned from Volkswagen. So in addition to the EPA mandated warranty, this gives you a bumper-to-bumper warranty on the entire car just about for 2 years and unlimited miles. So the reason that I decided I wanted to do that is because these cars sat for so long. I don't think that it's good for a car to sit very long. I think most people would agree with that. So this covers things that could be funny. Now, since the car sat, like before they sold it to me, they put new brakes all the way around, and it got a new battery. It looks like while it was at the lot that it was sitting in, and I found out it was sitting in a lot in Detroit. I actually had help from a friend of mine who works for a local Volkswagen dealership. He actually found the car for me. I told him that I wanted to do this. He found it and made a really good deal for me. So this warranty's probably already paid for itself, considering that I'm sure I paid a little more to get the car with the certified warranty versus getting one that doesn't have the certified warranty. But I've already had the panoramic sunroof leak, and they took it in. Apparently, it's a 6-hour diagnostic fee. They put a rain tent over the car and let it rain on it for 6 hours and then figure out where it's leaking. So I can't see that being a really inexpensive fix. And then they had to take apart the whole headliner, and I'm sure it was not much fun. I've also got a bubble in the dashboard that's covered under the warranty. They've ordered it. It's actually been a few months now. Apparently, they're on back order. I need to call the dealership again and put a bug in their ear and say, hey, what's going on with that? But again, especially with it sitting for years and being a Volkswagen product, it doesn't hurt to have a little extra warranty on the things that aren't covered by this EPA mandated warranty, because other things can go wrong on these cars, just to be realistic. Another thing I want you to consider is even though these cars are pretty economical and are good deals to buy, you're still, if you're looking for the cheapest, most reliable car to go out and buy, you're better off buying a Prius, a Corolla, a Civic. You need something bigger like a Camry or an Accord or something. But these cars are just a little bit more interesting. If you're looking for more of an involved car ownership experience, I would say that the TDI would be a good buy for you. It's a little more unique. You can pull up to a diesel pump and people say, hey, what are you doing putting diesel in your car? It's kind of funny. So with that being said, I just want to caveat everything that I found all this information. There's PDF files off of Volkswagen's website that cover the details of the fix and the warranty. I'll put links up in the description to them. I'll also put up all my notes in the description so that way you guys can take a look at them too. But I do urge you to do your own research, just in case I said something wrong or something like that. But if you're looking for a car with a lot of warranty that put a lot of miles on, this could be a really good deal for you. I wanted to put this video together because there isn't really anything on the internet, or at least on YouTube, that I have been able to find that covers this. There's lots of information about the scandal, and there's lots of information about who went to jail and what the fix is for the cars, but no real good buying guide. I've even seen articles about how these cars are great buys, but no one really breaks it down. They're like, well, if you buy a 2013 Jetta with X number of miles, how does that work for you? There's even people on the TDI group that buy these cars and they say, hey, I got a great deal. I have no idea that this warranty even exists. So this is just to get the word out there and to show you, if you already have one of these cars, this is the kind of coverage you have. To find out like your in-service date and the date that the repair or the EPA fix was done, a good source for that information will be to go to the Carfax. Usually, like on the for sale websites, they have a free Carfax. You can look at it. And if there isn't Carfax, if you know someone that can get you a free Carfax on your car, that might help you out. You can actually see like the in-service date when it was initially sold, get a good idea about when that warranty was kicked in, and or when it was fixed. You might even be able to call your service department at your local Volkswagen dealership. They may be able to provide those dates for you also. All right, so if there's any other questions, let me know. I do plan on doing more videos like this about the Audis that have this same 2.0 TDI and how that all plays out. I also plan on doing the 3-liter TDI that was in the Touareg, Audi Q5 and Q7, and the Porsche Cayenne. Another car that has a similar situation, I should say engine, not car, is the EcoDiesel engine that was used in the Ram 1500 and the Grand Cherokee. It's not as good of a warranty, but it's still a very similar situation, and it's still not very well known that they cheated on their emissions too and got caught. So I'll get videos up for that as soon as I can, as soon as life allows. And please like and subscribe, and I'll keep making this stuff if you guys keep watching. Thank you for watching again.